So how do you take something that's as boring as a bank, and even more boring than that, a community mutual bank, and make it fun and exciting?
Dress all the staff up as clowns.
That's a good idea. But it's not quite as good as this idea. See, with that, okay, so how would you do that? But then you would make it in a way that you don't have to pay for advertising.
How would I do it so that you don't have to pay for advertising?
Yeah.
This question's too hard.
Yeah, like are they clowns on the street, Like,
oh, right. They're branded clowns.
They're branded clowns. Yeah, makes sense. Well, it's actually not. It's gamification. So
Okay.
this isn't even about a bank. It's about a community bank that has built a advertising platform to advertise fintechs. So this is really cool. So what do I mean? I'm talking about a game that is accessible on browser. It's playable without needing to sign up or log in. And it's called, do you have the...
Oh, yeah.
Do you have the internet?
Yeah.
have you got that on iPad?
I'm aware of it.
So on your internet device, essentially what you start with is you answer a few questions about what you're interested in finance. And so I actually came across this website not realizing that's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's good. So you answer a few questions about what you're interested in finance, and you can answer from saving, budgeting, building credit, business, and smart spending. And then you can answer what topic or theme you're most interested in from that. So you can choose from environment, diversity, inclusion, family, giving back, and health and wellness.
Oh, yeah, I've got this. I've got here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you choose from those. And so for me, what I chose was business and health and wellness. You can choose something else. If you're playing along at home, or you're playing along in the car.
I choose to be financially free. There's no option.
Okay. Right, the fintechs aren't incredible. They're not magical. Like, yeah.
Giving back. That sounds wholesome.
Yeah. What I chose was business and health and wellness. And then it sends a little character that you can control to this island, and you walk around. You're walking around this fun cartoon island, and you come across these little characters who are at vendor stands, and they're like,
"There's a feeling in the air." Am I right?
Yeah. And then they're doing like a little conversation. He said, "We're bringing good vibes and bringing people together."
Okay.
So basically, as you go around, you'll come across these little characters on these vendor stands, and they're actually all advertising a product. So on the first island I was on, there are essentially 5 fintechs. But even better than that is they give you all little tasks to do around the island, which are related to their fintech, which is cool. So this is a game created by Coastal Community Bank. So how do you take a bunch of fintechs and actually get people to sign up? It's making people play games that represent what your startup actually does. So in this case, there were 5 games to play. So there was Pomelo, which is a fintech that allows for international money transfer. Mm-hmm. No, you got to keep playing.
No, I was playing. I finished it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So there's fintechs that allow for international money transfer. So their catchphrase is that they connect people from afar.
Sorry, just clarifying. So when you say there's fintechs, you're saying all of those little merchants that I was talking to, they're all separate fintechs.
Yeah. You go around and you go to a little present. But those were more. There are also like little side characters as well. So some of the fintechs are more vendors.
Okay.
They're at like a little stand that is actually like as though you're at a conference and you and you see the stand. Okay, so then there's Bridget, which was a fintech which provides you with $50 to $100 to $250 loans. With no credit checks and no interest.
Interesting. No interest?
Yeah. So that's
what's the point of that?
Well, it's probably like an afterpay situation where it's like
then they charge you like 300% interest if you're like 2 seconds late.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. So that helps you budget your money as well, and it helps you all around in managing your expenses. So the mini game for this one is where you meet this character. And he wants to have a bike race, and then you have little bike races against each other down this hill.
Would it be accurate to say that they've sort of made like a little metaverse?
Well, I'm getting to that point. So basically the whole point of that one was that the character was saving for a bike. But there's a solid list of about 10 to 15 that are on all the little islands. There was also Avon, which is a fintech that's built on the idea of financing home improvements.
Yeah, cool.
So for this game, you walk around the island and you meet people that have houses that are looking a little run down. And then what you do is that you go and you improve the houses. And then what you can do to see all of the companies on one screen is you pull up this little in-game mobile phone, and you can scroll through the fintechs and look at each one.
Yeah, right.
You click on them one by one. And there's an article and an intro video about them, and they'll tell you what they do and why they want you to sign up.
Good idea.
So yeah, it's very interesting. So the company behind it, it's Coastal Community Bank, and they're actually a business bank. And so it looks like what they'll do is you're standing.
What a cool project for them.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, well done.
It's really interesting.
Have you shown anyone at the place that you may or may not work?
No, I haven't. But it is very interesting. It's a bit different, but it is cool. So it looks like they'll do your standard lending, your credit card stuff, but they'll also do treasury management. So if you know me, a business bank that does treasury management and makes its own video games is a very interesting combo there.
That's right. It encapsulates everything that you are.
Yeah, everything that I am. Because everything's a simulation. So they might not seem to be all that huge, but they have 15 locations in Washington State in the US, and then that's all. So it's all in Washington there. Something that stood out to me, or more didn't stand out to me, was that their website doesn't really have a mention of the game that they've made, which is cool.
Oh, wow. Totally separate.
Yeah, so they've got it there,
cool.
but they've got their branding on the actual game, but they don't have the game in their website.
Maybe because their current customer base would find it a bit silly or something.
Maybe, yeah. And they're just trying to encourage the use of fintechs to make your life better. So
that's cool. Very cool, actually. How'd you find that?
It's interesting, and it'll be a future segment, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's but I did just stumble across it, and I didn't realize it was a financial thing or a game. And so yeah, I was on there, and then I was like, oh, this is cool. So I wouldn't really call it a is it, how does this tie into crypto, metaverses, all that stuff? I wouldn't really call it a metaverse, though there is a game area to walk around in. There are no other players to interact with. So you don't have all those advantages and disadvantages of metaverses. There's no customizable spaces or things like that.
It'd be cool if they had staff members walking around.
Yeah.
Like live chatting to people?
Doing live chat, yeah. Like VR. Yeah, it's not really like a VR, AR experience or anything like that. In saying that, metaverses are a similar concept. So let's have a quick look into a few of them. So we've got Sand, which was Sandbox.
Yep.
So this coin is down 78% in the 1 year view. This was one of the most popular metaverses. The other one was Mana, Decentraland's Mana.
Right.
This one's down 75% in the 1 year view, which was another popular one of those metaverses.
There's a lot of concepts and things on that one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So what are the other examples of metaverse advertising that we've seen? And how is Meta doing? That's probably what you were wondering.
Yeah, okay.
And so basically, JP Morgan launched a hangout space in the metaverse last year. So this was an area inside Decentraland, and it was honestly very strange. It was kind of funny, but they really thought it was a real future play. So they had a little area. I think they had a little portrait of Jamie Dimon, the CEO. It was all very odd. And then all random people would just be in there trolling each other.
Yeah, well, that's right. I can imagine the people who are playing those games are not necessarily the type of customers that JP Morgan might be looking to encourage to be a part of their organization.
But they were making sure to invest in future ideas, and so that's what they were concerned about. So Facebook became Meta a year ago. And so, well, a little bit more
Very fast.
Yeah, a little bit more than a year now.
Do you remember that big long video that Zuck did?
Yeah, the Zuck. Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, explaining everything. Yeah.
So since then, we have seen he's been doing some MMA stuff with like metaverse trackers on him to kind of show him off. They've pumped over $10 billion into creating their own metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, that hasn't really gone anywhere. Like, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm judging too soon, or maybe I don't actually see the users of that. Must be big in the US. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Or maybe they just haven't fully got there yet. Anyway, overall, I think that this advertising method is a really good idea. They're building a platform and then selling advertising space on a fun little quirky game. It's a brilliant way to capture attention and build your brand. And they might not even have it set up as an advertising model yet, though. Like, they might get paid on signups, or they might have some kind of affiliate fee, or maybe they own a little piece of all these fintechs, or they could all just be customers of Coastal Community Bank, and they're adding a little bit of value there by adding that. And the more users that they have, the more kind of secure that Coastal Community Bank's position is. So yeah, when one of the individual fintechs grow, kind of the whole group kind of grows together in that sense, which is really cool.
Very cool.
And the idea is kind of more solidified. So in terms of marketing, is this the future? Will people be able to sell directly within games and explore products in little metaverse-like situations? I'm not sure, but I feel like it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
It's kind of like buying Facebook ads in 2010 or getting into Google ads in early 2000s. It might have an abnormally large return on ad spend, or it could just be a total flop. So
yeah, it's cool. I like it. It shows a lot of innovation on behalf of the organization. I think that goes a long way to its member base, just seeing that they're willing to a reasonable extent, invest in what appears to be the next era of technology. And so I think it's fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.